What's really exciting here is that special home loan program offers to cover the entire 3%, essentially all of your closing costs. So you can come in with zero. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Andrew King and I'm super excited today. I got something special to share with you guys that can really transform your home buying experience, especially if you're a California veteran or a veteran that's looking to buy in California, I should say, and looking for that extra boost when financing your dream home. There's a special home loan program available that offers this amazing benefit. It's up to 3% of your closing costs covered. That's right, this program could help you save thousands right off the bat. And before we dive into how it works, let's chat about why this matters. Buying a home is a huge milestone, especially in California, but the upfront costs, especially the closing costs, can sometimes feel like a mountain to climb. Imagine you're eyeing that beautiful $800,000 home. Many veterans assume that, because it's a 0% down loan, that it's going to be zero out of pocket as well. In a typical deal, you might expect anywhere from 2 to 5% of the purchase price in closing costs. So let's assume for an $800,000 house, you're looking at $24,000 in closing costs. It's a nice round number to work with. With a traditional VA loan, you have a couple options getting the closing costs covered. You could ask the seller to pay for them, or you could take a higher interest rate and use a lender credit to cover it, assuming you didn't have the closing costs yourself. And as of spring of 2025, the real estate market seems to be heating up again. So seller concessions are getting harder to come by. Now, if there was another option where you could have 3% of that purchase price taken care of for you without having to take a higher rate, that means potentially getting $24,000 in assistance just to help cover those expenses on an $800,000 home. Now here's a fun twist. If you'd rather use your available cash, you could knock out high interest credit cards, maybe make improvements to your new home, or maybe pay off that car note. Got options. With this program, you have the flexibility to decide whether you want to apply that assistance directly to your closing costs, or maybe use it in another way that better fits your financial picture. And speaking of making decisions that fit your life perfectly, I want to invite you to a personalized consultation where we can compare a traditional VA loan to the special program for California veterans with the closing cost assistance. My buddy made this really cool website called letsplan.com where we can compare different options and the numbers for multiple scenarios together in real time. So we could hop on a Google Meet and come up with something tailored to fit your particular situation. It's super easy. Just click in the video description, got the Calendly link there, or call me directly or text at 417-686-2700 and we'll get that set up. All right, let's break this down a bit further. In most home purchases, closing costs can sneak up on you, covering everything from appraisal fees to title insurance and more. For example, today, think of an $800,000 home, which for better or for worse is the average price in California, where the closing costs could come in around $24,000. Now that's roughly 3% of the purchase price, which is a pretty standard figure in many transactions. It could be a little more, a little less, depending on the terms of the financing transaction. Now what's really exciting here is that special home loan program offers to cover the entire 3%, essentially all of your closing costs. Can help lift the financial burden during this most critical phase of your home buying process. And here's another cool angle. If you're someone who'd prefer to reduce your debt load rather than immediately pay these closing costs, you might have the option to use either your seller credits or what you were going to put towards the closing costs to pay off some pesky credit cards. Imagine the peace of mind that would bring you. Dave Ramsey would definitely approve of you going into the house with no debt. You might be a little bit like me and need to visualize this to understand. So let's get this on the whiteboard over here and hopefully it'll be a little bit easier for you to understand. All right, hopefully you guys can see this okay. So here we have a traditional VA product set up. So we've got your $800,000 purchase price for our example. You'd be looking at roughly $24,000 in closing costs. So the total that you would need to bring into the transaction to close is $824,000. Obviously you're getting a loan for 100% loan to value. So this is your loan here. But you would still have $24,000 cash to close in this scenario. Ways you could get around this with a traditional VA loan, you could potentially ask the seller to cover this. So in other words, instead of asking for a discount, you would ask, instead of asking for like a $776 purchase price, you would ask for $24,000 in closing costs, and this would be covered. So $24,000 in seller credit, which sounds great. I mean, if you can get that, more power to you. Obviously, if the house has been sitting on the market for longer, doesn't have any offers, the sellers will be more likely to take concessions. From what I'm seeing and what we're seeing in the market lately, sellers are less willing to do that. And there is a reality that some sellers, and maybe more accurately, their realtors, discriminate against VA loans already. So if you're asking for a closing cost credit and you're coming in with zero down on a VA loan, they might not like that, especially if the house just hit the market. If you're in a multiple offer situation and you're asking for a seller concession and the other offer is not, they're probably going to be going with that other offer. So another option for getting this covered, obviously you could get a gift, the bank of mom and dad, obviously come up with it yourself, you have it, and you could also get a lender credit. So let's look at that. So with the lender credit, and this isn't a rate quote, this is just an example. Let's say your rate is 6.125%. Don't mind my handwriting here. With the lender credit, the way that works is if you bump the rate up, let's just say 7%. For our example, you take a higher interest rate, you might be able to get a lender credit big enough to cover all of your closing costs if you're not able to come up with it or don't want to come up with it on your own. And so now let's take a look at the option with the closing cost assistance. That's why we're all here. So let's move over here and take a look at this. So same scenario here. You got your $24,000 in closing costs. We subtract our loan balance and you're left with $24,000. The closing cost assistance is applied to that and you're coming in with nothing out of pocket. Beautiful thing. I should dive into a little more detail on how this actually works, kind of the nuts and bolts of it. It's not magic. It's not a gift from the heavens. This is a loan. It'll be like a second loan on your property. So let's just pretend you had a 5.625 rate on your first mortgage. You would have the same rate on the loan for the closing cost assistance. So you got the 5.625. Again, it's not a rate quote. This is just an example. You would have a loan at 5.625%. But here's the really cool thing. It's no payments for 10 years. I'm gonna write that out. So you got 10 years to figure it out what you're gonna do with this, and then payments kick in. It is important to note that it does accrue interest. Even though there's no payment, it is accruing interest while it's there. And then you don't really have to worry about it for 10 years, except if you go to refinance or sell the property, this $24,000 loan is gonna need to be paid off. So just keep that in mind with our future examples. And this covers what I need on the whiteboard. We'll go back to the regular video here. All right, now let's talk about some of the pros and cons of the traditional VA versus this closing cost assistance VA program. I'm always going to give it to you guys straight. So I'm not here to push any particular solution on you. I just want you to have all the tools in your tool belt. That in mind. For the traditional VA pros, faster closes, 14 to 17 days potentially. The rates are updated daily, and there's flexibility with rate buy downs and temporary buy downs. For the cons, there's no built-in closing cost assistance and the rates are updated daily. So for the closing cost assistance, the pros, built-in closing cost assistance, flexible underwriting terms, even more flexible than regular VA sometimes, and the rates are updated only periodically. Cons, you got slower closes, 25 to 30 days at the fastest, harder to refinance due to the second loan needed to be paid off. You are accruing interest on that second loan and the rates are only updated periodically. And you may have noticed that I have included the rate updates here as a pro and a con for both. With this special program, the rates are only updated once in a blue moon. So that means that in periods where rates are rapidly dropping, they might be behind the curve, and the opposite is also true. So when rates are going up fast, they might have the best rates in town. So that's why it's important to work with a lender that can give you both options. All right, let's recap what we covered today. You could potentially have up to 3% of your purchase price, which in our example equals $24,000, applied to the closing costs. The assistance can significantly ease the upfront financial burden when buying a home, making it easier for you to get into your dream property without depleting your savings. And if the closing cost assistance isn't the best option for you at the moment, there are alternatives. You can negotiate seller credits, take a higher interest rate for a lender credit, or get a gift, tap into the bank of mom and dad. That's available. It's all about giving you power to make the choices that best fit your life and your financial goals. And remember, every home buyer's situation is unique, and these options can make a real difference in your home buying experience. Before we wrap up, I did want to remind you again about the personalized consultation I mentioned earlier. If you're curious to see how a traditional VA loan stacks up against this special program with the closing cost assistance, or if you just have questions about which approach best for your unique situation, I'd love to chat with you one-on-one. Simply head over to calendly.com/monarchlender or give me a text at 417-686-2700 to set up a time that works for you. Let's dig into your numbers in real time and map out a strategy that sets you up for success in your home buying journey. And I actually get a kick out of helping veterans like you make informed, confident decisions that not only secure your home, but also enhance your financial well-being. Remember, this isn't just about buying a house, it's about building a future that's stable, secure, and absolutely filled with possibilities. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you found this video helpful at all, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.